Hello Steelers, and welcome back to another Bench Report hobby update. The first one for a little while because I've been away. I was away working up in Northumbria for a couple of weeks. I got back last weekend, didn't get a chance to put together another hobby report because there was not much point, because I'd not really done much in those 2 weeks hobby wise. I'll talk about what I've been up to. It was some excavations on the Otterburn training ranges. I'll talk about those later on. So if you want to stick around and listen to some archaeology talk, then that's coming up. But this week I actually managed to get back on the horse and started painting again, and I managed to get a couple of things knocked out. These are bits that have actually been sitting on the bench for quite a while actually. The first ones were some Vietnamese civilians. These are from Peter Pig. 15mm figures. I was given these by Dave White as part of the big lump of stuff that he sent over a few weeks ago, you may remember. So these like I say, these have just been sitting on the bench really, just waiting to be painted. So I just sat down, I painted them. I never like painting civilians because I prefer just to paint in blocks. So I like to paint, single figures, single uniforms, 10, 15, whatever figures at once. So it's kind of difficult to paint civilians because I've got to think about what colours I'm going to use. But I just thought, right, knock them out, get them done, and they're done. I also painted as well some rice cache and weapons caches as well. These again from Peter Pig. Also with some ambushing VC figures as well, popping up out of their tunnels as well. So these are quite nice little additions. Obviously, this is those going towards Charlie Don't Surf. But having said that, John Savage, I saw him at Lord Workshop, which I will talk about in a bit as well. He was running his Vietnam Chain of Command game, so he very kindly sent me over the rules for it, or his amendments. A lot of it is heavily borrowed from the Far East Handbook and the jungle rules in there. But I'm going to set up later on today. I'm recording this on Friday. I'm going to set up over this weekend, as my wife is away at the moment at a conference. I'm going to set up a game of a Vietnam Chain of Command game, so that will be out at some point. I'll film that and I'll get that out for you at some point as well. Thinking about what to do on the Sunday as well, and I might push out a General Dame 2 game as well, but we'll see how the Vietnam game goes. Speaking of General Dame 2 and I suppose Black Powder as well, I also finished off the Warlord's First Lifeguards as well. These are the British Guard Cavalry as well. So again, these were sitting on the bench and I just wanted to I started painting these before I went away. I didn't get much chance to do much with them, so I just sat down this week and hammered those out. Just wanted to get some British heavy cavalry done. Very nice figures, as always with the Warlord Epic range. They're really, really good, and I'm making some progress. I'm about halfway through both the British and the French boxes at the moment that they sent me a while ago. If people want it, let me know. I will do a work in progress video about what I've done so far, but it's about half the boxes of each of them, and I haven't touched the Prussians yet at all, but I will be at some point in the future. So while I was away, I didn't get a whole load of stuff. I didn't buy too much, but one of the things I did whilst I was away up in Alnwick, I went to Barter Books, I think it's called, one of the biggest bookshops I think in Britain, or at least they claim to be, and I picked this up. It's called Uniforms of World War I. It's illustrated encyclopedia of. It's a pretty good book. I thought it was only 12 quid, so I thought I'll get that. It covers I think most, if not all, of the nations involved in the First World War, with some details on their uniforms and things like that. Now there's quite a few of these, and when I posted the picture of this, a lot of people had said there's quite a number of different versions of this. I think the American War of Independence one has come in for some criticism by some people, and also I think there's other ones as well. But I've looked through this and I think this is pretty good, to be honest. I think it's quite a good comprehensive coverall of uniforms in basics. I mean, at the end of the day, you can get most of this stuff off the internet, but it's always nice to have a book, isn't it? So that's why I bought that. I thought, and then that was inspired by that. I went looking around and I found out a Stoßtruppen platoon for the First World War, German stormtroopers as they are more commonly known, which is not really the name they went by, but this is from Battlefront, I actually got this through Caliver Books. They were selling it, I think, on eBay, so I got a box of these for a platoon. I just fancied painting some First World War stuff again, and the Germans I've got are just the normal German platoons, basically, so I thought I'll do some actual stormtroopers. So that is something I'm looking forward to painting at some point in the future. Now, over at Lard Workshop, I bumped into both Andy Shaw and Mike Wilkins. Andy had offered me and gave me this Huey Slick from, it must have been a free one or something from Wargames Illustrated, or like an offer or something. But again, it's a resin model from Battlefront of a Huey. Oh, you probably can't see that, but it's got a nice helicopter blade on it as well there. So thanks for that, Andy. If you're watching, I will enjoy building that at some point. Speaking of Hueys, I also, as I said, I saw Matt Wilkins at Lard Workshop, and he gave me 2 3D printed Hueys. So I've got more Hueys now than the I think at least the Philippines Army, if not the American Army. So I'll get those painted up. These are the ones from 3D Breed. I'm going to be interested to see how they match with the Battlefront ones that I've got. I've also got some more Hueys actually coming as well at some point in the future. I was going to pick them up last night at the club, but it didn't happen, but it will do it in the future. Mike also printed me a load of water buffaloes and Vietnamese civilians. Again, these are the 3D Breed ones. So once again, I did have some of the armies of these, but I don't have the civilians, so he's done a few of those for me. So thanks again, Mike, if you're watching that. I haven't got around to painting them yet. They're just in the Vietnam box at the moment, waiting to be done. So I didn't get much chance to play a huge amount of stuff over the last few weeks. However, I did introduce some of the participants up at Otterburn to Quartermaster General. We played Quartermaster General World War II, and then we played quite a few games of Quartermaster General First World War, and it's actually the most I've actually played of it. Really good game. It's a board game set around the First World War. The Quartermaster General World War II is quite low level, I think. It's an interesting game, but it's like an introductory game. The First World War version is really, really good. You really have to think about what you're going to be doing, when you're going to be launching your attacks, and when you're going to be holding your defences, and you're preparing cards left, right and centre, whilst also your cards are running out as well at the same time. Really good game. We went several different ways. We played it 2-player, and I think we also played 4-player as well, so it was quite a good mix to get the different games. I'd like to play down the club as well with the lads at some point. Then also at the club last night, another board game, played Cthulhu Wars. Paul brought it down, so thanks, Paul, if you're watching. It's a game that I've had an eye on for a long time. It's been around for a long time, I think, and it was run as a Kickstarter with massive Cthulhu figures in it, Elder Gods figures in it, lots of different figures. It felt a little bit like Risk with tentacles, but it was there's a little bit more subtlety to it. I really enjoyed it. It's a game I'd like to go back to and play again. It's a bit of a weird one because the Cthulhu part of it is really only a skin on what is generally a strategic game. Really, you could play it at any level. It doesn't really matter what you're using. But obviously, I'm interested in H.P. Lovecraft. Always loved his stuff as well. But it's quite an interesting, relatively simple game as well. So 4 players. It was myself, Dex, Chris, and Paul. Paul had obviously played it before because it's his game. But us 3 had never played it, and within a couple of moves, I think everybody had a good idea of how to play the game. It's one of those ones where you slowly build up your powers. So you have spell books that you add into the game itself, into your mix, which make it better, make it easier and better for you to actually complete the missions that you're supposed to be completing, and cause human annihilation. But yeah, it was a good game. Really enjoyed it. I would like to get back to it at some point as well in the future. Now, Lard Workshop was literally the Saturday before I left for Otterburn on the Sunday, so I was absolutely knackered after all of that. Brilliant, really, really well set up down at the Nottingham Trent University. It was part of BritCon, the historical games tournament scene thing. There was a lot of bolt action and To the Strongest and all the different tournament games going off down there. And also the Perry brothers were there with Rick Priestley putting on a game of Valour and Fortitude on his name escapes me, the guy that wrote it. Somebody will tell me in the comments. Jervis Johnson, there you go. He was there. It was on the end of my tongue. They were all there as well putting on display games. But I was there for Lard Workshop, which was very ably set up by Don Avis. Really, really good work. He's not even from Nottingham, so it was even more brilliant that he was able to set that up in a city that doesn't even live in anywhere near. I think it's about 3 hours away. But I took my game of it was a Singapore scenario, and it was taken from the Malaya 1942 campaign, pint-sized campaign that Dex and I had played through recently, and it's the last scenario of that. It was basically the Johor defence by the Australians against the Japanese before they crossed over onto the island of Singapore. So December, February 1942, very last ditch attempts. Great games. Everybody had 4 players in each session, in the morning and in the afternoon. I do apologise, I can't remember everybody's name, and I tried to look for the list of names, so I just don't have the email anymore. But everybody seemed to enjoy it, I think, anyway. That was the feedback I got at the time. I mean, whether if you're watching this and you played it and you didn't enjoy it, tell me in the comments. But I really enjoyed myself watching these people play, and for some of them it was the first time they played the Far East Handbook rules. One guy, again, I do apologise, he came with Rich, I can't remember his name, but it was the first time he'd played Wargame since the 1970s, he said, and it was like the WRG stuff, so Chain of Command must have absolutely blown his mind, the difference in WRG and Chain of Command, but he said he really enjoyed it. So I was giving them a bit of a hand. They were playing the Australians in the AM, and they won just by holding on, and then the Japanese in the PM won just by being very aggressive. So it was swings and roundabouts on both sides, and Lard Workshop was fantastic. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to film anything because I was busy playing the games. If I was a participant, I probably would have gone round and done some bits and pieces, but I do have an older Lard Workshop report on the channel elsewhere, which you can go find if you just do a search in on the channel itself. You'll see it out there. But yeah, brilliant, really well done. Don, if you're watching this, thanks again for inviting me along and asking me along, and it was just a great day. Good to see everybody who came past the table and said hello as well. And as I say, if you were there, let me know in the comments and tell me what you thought of it. I thought it was brilliant, as are all Lardy days. The other thing I mentioned is I was up at Otterburn excavating as part of my job. This is Operation Nightingale, where we do excavations, archaeological excavations with veterans. But in this case, we also had local volunteers who come as well from the Reesdale Archaeological Group. We've been working on this site for 3 years. This was the last site that we could work on. It's a project that my colleague set up a couple of years ago, but I've now steered it for the last couple of years just to finish it off. And this was the last year that we were able to work up there, but we found an Iron Age roundhouse made out of stone with a stone floor. The stone roofs, stone walls had collapsed, obviously, as had the roof a long time ago. But we found quite a bit of Iron Age pottery. We actually doubled the site archive, I think, this year because we found so much pottery. And when I say so much pottery, I mean about 5 or 6 pieces. It's Otterburn. We very, very, very rarely find anything up there. But it was a really good local community project, a really good work with the veterans, and also just good fun all round, really. And thankfully, apart from one day, the weather stayed on our side, and it was Otterburn, which you can get sometimes 6 or 7 different seasons in a day up there. The weather really stayed on our side, so it was just great to do that and just have some time at the weekend as well to take the veteran participants around some of the local archaeological sites and sounds that are up there in Northumbria, and there are a lot, not just Hadrian's Wall. There's plenty of other stuff as well. Right, I will wrap it up there. I say it was quite a busy one the last couple of weeks. There's been quite a lot going on, but it's all calmed down now. I'm going to film a couple of games this weekend, as I said, that's the plan. I'm currently working on a movement in Chain of Command video as well at the moment. That is currently being edited, which I'll try and get out in the next couple of weeks. And if you do want to buy anything from Warlord, like their Epic Rangers, which I very much recommend, especially the Napoleonic stuff, do check out the affiliate link down below. I know Warlord are putting out their volume 3 of, or version 3 of Bolt's Action this week. I think it's this week, September time. So if you're wanting to buy that, please do me a favour by buying it through the affiliate. You'll find the affiliate link down there in the description. I'll also say, obviously, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I'm still about 70% of the people who watch these videos aren't subscribed. Please hit that subscribe button. Also, if you want to help the channel out, check out channel memberships and Patreons, because you will get early access ad-free videos like this one before anybody else gets to see them. You'll also get your name on the list that's probably going up the screen as I speak. And I'll see you in the next Storm of Steel video.